Good afternoon. My name is Paul Wolf. I'm the president of the Buffalo Niagara Coalition for Open Government. We are a nonprofit organization consisting of residents from Erie and Niagara County that focus on open government and transparency issues. Over the past 2 years, we've released several reports where we've taken a look at compliance with the open meetings law, freedom of information law, and today that's what we're here to talk about. We're releasing a report regarding the freedom of information law. And what we did was we sent an email out July 22nd. We sent it to 16 different local governments, towns, cities, counties, and the email asked for the same information, the FOIL request asked for the same information, looking to get copies of emails between elected officials. And we didn't want to make it, a very difficult request to fill. I didn't want to ask for 6 months of emails or a year of emails. We limited it, I believe, to just 2 weeks of emails, just trying to keep it somewhat concise and simple. And what we do is we track the response. By law, local government is supposed to respond to a FOIL request within 5 days. Just send a letter, 5 business days, acknowledging that they've received the request. So that was the first thing we took a look at. Are people complying with the 5-day requirement? And 13 out of the 16 did comply, so that's a rate of 80%. Certainly was hoping for it to be higher. When we did this in 2017, it was 100% compliance with the 5-day requirement. So this time around, we had a bit of a drop-off in that regard. We had to do a follow-up to the town of Clarence. The city of Buffalo did reply a few days late, and then the city of North Tonawanda didn't reply at all, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. 80% compliance with the 5-day requirement. Then we track, well, how soon do people respond to providing us the information we requested? And in the report we list some places the same day. To his credit, the town of Amherst town clerk got me the information the same day of our FOIL request. Others took 1, 2, 3 weeks. On average, it was, for those that did respond, 50% of the 16 gave us documents that we were looking for. So that's not a great rate either, but 50% gave us the documents, and the average length of time it took was 33 days. Not horrible. We understand these things take time. Certainly would like to get information quicker, but 33 days I don't think is a horrible response. Even worse is we have several municipalities that still haven't provided us the information. We're at day 88 at this point. So several local governments, Niagara County, City of Buffalo, haven't responded with any information yet. They've said, we need more time, and it just hasn't happened. 3 municipalities denied our request, so 20% denied. There are exemptions in the law where you don't have to disclose certain things. They made the argument that emails between elected officials are an interagency communication, which there is an exemption under FOIL for that. So to their credit, the 8 municipalities didn't go that route. They said, fine, we'll give you what you want. You want copies of emails and text messages? Here you go. 3 pushed back and said, you're not entitled to it, we're not going to give it to you. 20% denial rate. But the real issue that arose in doing this study was the city of North Tonawanda. By law, most places the town clerk, city clerk is the FOIL access officer. That's where you go to send your FOIL request. And for most of these municipalities, that's what we did. We sent an email to the city clerk, town clerk, county clerk. So same thing for the city of North Tonawanda. We sent the same email we sent to everybody else on July 22nd requesting information, and we got no response within 5 days. So I sent a second email, which was in August, saying, hey, sent you this FOIL request, haven't received a response. Didn't get a response to that. At the end of August, August 29th, I believe it was, I faxed a letter to the North Tonawanda City Clerk, again, our 4.0 request, and I mailed it by regular mail. I waited, a week or two, didn't get any response. In September, towards the end of September, September 27th, I called the North Tonawanda City Clerk's office. A woman answered the phone, identified it as the clerk's office. I said, I'm looking to speak with the city clerk, Mr. Parrish. And she said, well, he's not available, but I'll put you through to his voicemail. So I left a voice message for the city clerk on that day. It was around lunchtime, around 12:15. And here we are weeks later, I've never gotten a return phone call. So I think it's pretty outrageous that, as a government official, there's a state law. Freedom of Information Law is a New York state law. There are certain requirements of that law that you are to respond to a FOIL request. And I don't know what's going on with the North Tonawanda City Clerk, but 2 emails, a fax, a letter, a telephone call, no response. And that's just unacceptable. Every other community gave us a response, either by acknowledging the request, providing the information, or denying the request. But we at least got a response. For whatever reason, North Tonawanda, there is no response. And that shouldn't be tolerated. I mean, we're an open government organization. I sent it as, the president of an open government organization. I didn't hide the fact who we were. I think our organization is becoming somewhat known in the community. So it's hard to believe that they would just ignore a request from a citizen organization. I don't know what happens if you're just a regular citizen making a FOIL request and you don't have a group behind you. But it's unacceptable. And I thought, well, what do we do about this? I mean, we could file an appeal that they've done nothing on our request. But I think this goes even beyond that. It's, you can appeal being denied, but no response whatsoever. I looked at the North Tonawanda City Charter, and according to the city charter, which I was surprised to see, the mayor of North Tonawanda has the authority to discipline all department heads and the city clerk. The city clerk is a separately elected, I understand, elected official, but in the city charter, the mayor has the authority to suspend or remove the city clerk for misconduct, for neglect of duty, and I think this rises to the level, and we're asking in our report, that the mayor should address this with the city clerk. The mayor has the power to suspend, remove, perhaps he has power to do other disciplinary matters, I'm not sure, but the mayor should take a look at this. So that's what we're calling for in our report. It's unfortunate, I didn't want to stand up here today calling for anybody to be disciplined, but you can't do this. You can't just ignore state law. You can't ignore a FOIL request. This is part of your job, part of your duties. And failing to comply with an open government law should have consequences. So with that, I don't know if anybody has any questions. I don't know if anybody else up here wants to add anything.
What sort of specific concerns does this raise from North Tonawanda?
Well, I think the first concern is, are we the only people that this has happened to? Are there other FOIL requests that haven't been responded to? We don't know that. So that's a concern. And this is, I think, an important part of the city clerk's job. You are the Freedom of Information Access Officer. This is part of your duties. And it shouldn't be neglected to this degree, and if it is, there should be consequences for it.
I'd like to add one point on this too.
This is, I should introduce people. Ed McKee, our Vice President from Erie County, Richard Bertrand, Vice President from Niagara County, and Stephen Lyle, a member of ours from Lewiston.
Very briefly, to me, that opens up the negligence, if you will, on the part of the city clerk, if you will. That just, to me, makes me wonder what other things are not being handled properly. If I was a resident in that community, I'd be concerned. that's something, that's another aspect of this that should be brought out.
Could you just say and spell your name one more time?
My name, Edward McKee, M-C-K-E. Thanks.
Anybody else?
So, say there is no discipline, what would be the next step?
We could appeal the fact that our FOIA request hasn't been responded to, and that appeal also goes to the mayor, and the mayor could direct the city clerk to respond to our request, provide the information that we've requested. So that certainly is another avenue that could occur, but above and beyond having our request responded to, I think there needs to be some sort of disciplinary action as well. All right, if not, we appreciate you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.